just get it. The OGs always told me what I start, I gotta finish. So I push it to the limit, so I can be the greatest. So I can look my family in their eyes and say we made it. Don't let life hand you nothing, you just gotta go take it. Always keep it 100, don't ever let me catch you faking. Keep a close eye on your circle.
Hey, y'all, welcome to season 2 of the Post Prison Podcast, Pursuing Life After the Plantation. I'm your guy, businessman, and I'm post businessman and entrepreneur, Darryl Riley. Joining me, as always, is the ride or die sister, Miss Cynthia Brady. I'm also honored to introduce a new brother that's joining our team, a brother that's a little bit younger than me, but somehow I always find myself looking up to him. Someone who I always tend to learn from, and him and Cynthia both remind me they have the same type of mood or role when they, same type of vibe when they approach me, and it's all about keeping it real and holding me accountable. And that's brother Durell Green, man. Appreciate you. Much love and respect to you. We're gonna give you a chance in a second to drop this game on these people. But what we first want to do is talk about the show to those who didn't follow us last season and why we're here. Basically, we all know somebody that's involved in the prison system, has been to prison. Nobody is exempt from having people impacted in their life by that. We know people going in and out of that system, and we just want for that person to get it right. Uh, we also know that there are over 2 million people incarcerated in jails and prisons in the United States. This country locks up more people than any other country in the world. We also know that there are about over 300,000 that are on parole or probation at this very moment. So you're talking pretty close to 2.5 million people that are entrapped in this system. And somehow we're letting it go on, even though we understand that the American prison system is just another form of slavery to generate free labor that's supported by the 13th Amendment of the Constitution. So that's about the show. Uh, why we are here? We're here to lift up voices, to call out systems. We're here to call out different kinds of prisons and different kinds of systems as it relates to not just incarceration, but emotional incarceration. Some folks are in jobs that they feel like a prison. Some folks are in relationships and marriages, that are like prisons to them. We call those situationships. So we want to identify those type of things and talk about those things, and try to help people find their pathways to freedom, because usually the answers are within. What we're not here to do is to argue, to defame, to embarrass anyone, to catch anyone up. We're serious about what we believe in. We've come out of the pits of slavery, and we found the ability to turn our lives around and be productive citizens and value to our community. So that's what we want to offer today. So enough of me running on my mouth. We do want to ask you to like, share, and subscribe, and email us at the postprisonpodcast at gmail.com with any questions, topics, or information that you may have. So at this time, we want to ask Brother Durell Green, I'm sorry, if you don't mind, introduce yourself, man. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, and, how'd you find yourself here? And then we're going to pass it on over to Cynthia. Let her drop a little sprinkle on the people.
Mhm. Thank you. That that introduction, when people introduce me, I always get, just a little bit uncomfortable. It's the most humbling thing, when you have people that you respect, um, speak good about you in front of you. You know what I'm saying? It always do something to me personally. And so I appreciate what you said. And my name's Durell Green. I'm an individual that's from Kitsap County, and everything that this show represents. I feel like those are the things that, you know, any success that can be attributed to myself or my work ethic or anything of that nature has been built on the foundation of like me coming from where I came from, you know, and the people investing in me that invested in me and me understanding what community is. And so I'm humbled to be in this space. You know, I've lived all around Western Washington. I lived in Holly Park in 1992. Born in Tacoma, but I'm from Bremerton. You know what I'm saying? So like I feel like I've touched a little bit of everywhere. You know, when I went to prison, I was all custody levels, maximum, medium, minimum, camp. I got to see everything the DOC got to offer black folk in Washington State. Didn't like it. Don't recommend it. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's my background. And so like I come to this space just to share space with my elders, you and Simp, and with all respect to y'all, I believe that and I hope that my presence of being from a generation after y'all, I mean, y'all old enough to be my parents. I grew up with like maybe some of y'all's kids, right? And I think so much gets lost in translation generationally. And I believe that, you know, our culture as black people, that used to be something that happened. Like we passed down our history and that used to matter. Our elders used to matter. Listening to your elders used to matter. And somehow we've become Americanized where we be like, old people, shut up. And and now I be caught in the middle of trying to communicate to the next generation the stuff that y'all taught me that I know need to pass through. So I got to be bilingual to do this.
For sure.
And in real life, they really should be hearing directly from y'all. So I hope that my presence, I can continue to be that conduit, but I also hope that people will be able to hear y'all and listen directly, you know, because our elders need to be respected. And I'm here for the culture ultimately. Um, Whatever we think that the culture is. And that's a whole nother, that's
Right.
probably a topic of conversation for an episode.
For sure. Thank you, my brother. Cynthia. Can hear you.
Hi, my name is Cynthia, and I'm Darryl's co-host, along with our new co-host, another co-host, Durell. And it's good to see both of you guys. I am actually from the Tri-Cities. I'm from Eastern Washington, and I touch bases in several areas of Washington State too, and have been in other little states here and there. But my background is substance abuse, prison, and all kind of attachments that come with that. Different areas of my life been touched by my substance use, and I came up out of that. Now I'm a substance use disorder professional. I'm giving back to my community what was freely given to me. Somebody helped me to get clean and sober. And so that's what I do for a living is I help people get clean and sober. I'm also involved in my community in other areas. Um, I go to church. I'm involved in my church. Uh, I do a lot of different things. So I'm touching bases on different areas. And the reason why I am here today is because Darryl had invited me to be a part of this podcast. And I really, really believe in Darryl's mission and his motive for why he do what he do. I think he comes with good intention. And that's one of the reasons why I chose to be with him throughout this journey. And also I want to be able to, there's something that maybe I can say or something that I could bring to the table that may be useful or helpful to someone.
Well, that's cool. I appreciate it, Cynthia. Yeah, it's all of us, you guys, I actually came from another part of the country. When I came here, it was just such a culture shock to me, and after some troubles came here, and one thing that I found out interesting about myself was that I when I moved here, I wasn't just gone, lost off drugs and stuff like that. I intentionally moved here because I was going through a bad divorce. I got here and packed up all my clothes and got here, and I got a job down there in Seattle on the ferry. Used to be a McDonald's there. I got a job at that McDonald's, man, and then I had another job in West Seattle doing telemarketing, right? So I would leave on the first ferry, I would come back on the last ferry, right? And I'm only here like about a week before I got these jobs. And about after about 5 weeks here, my cousin comes and tells me, he's like, man, we getting evicted this weekend, right? And I'm like, well, damn, what we gonna do, right? What we gonna do, right? Is my first thought. And he was like, well, I don't know what you gonna do, but we already got another spot. We moving in the next 48 hours, right? So I don't really know too many people. I think I had started hooking up with one young lady who knew a few people, but it was at that moment that I panicked and I went back to my suitcase and I went through my clothes and pulled out my crack habit. You know what I'm saying? And that just dawned on me really recently when I was going through some of the podcasts that we did and listened to a lot of the things that Cynthia said. Uh, I panicked, and today I'm in a space where I don't panic about those things. I face those challenges head on, and I think it's people like you, both of you all, who hold me accountable, that gives me the strength to do that. So that wasn't scripted. Uh, I just wanted to say that, Cynthia. So the question is on you.
All right. The name of this podcast is We Have Risen. Today's podcast is We Have Risen. I have a question for you, Durell, and for you, Brother Darryl. And either one of you can go first. And it's a two-part question. Tell us about your rise. How did you pull yourself out, and why are you on this space? Again, tell us about your rise. How did you pull yourself out, and why are you on this space or in this space?
Come on, Darryl.
So once again, it's one of them things that's very humbling, right? Um, if I start talking about my rise, I immediately feel uncomfortable because I got to talk about myself and like shine, you know, in a certain type of a way. And I've never looked at what I've been doing as a rise, but the more I've been in this work, um, and the older I get, I'm almost 40 now. I'm like over a decade in my transition, I'm understanding what it means to other people. And I would say that that's what my rise is about, is I represent that transition. And I believe that I represent the transition on a level that none of my other peers do. Um, there's people that got out of prison, they make more money than me. There's, you could measure different levels of success and say like, they did it the right way or whatever. And for me, my rise was based out of like me not being a bad person anymore. Like when I got out of prison and I was 21 and I was a young man, I had all the ambition in the world. Like I've always thought I was smarter than like everybody around me. I didn't think me and my peers had the same level of intelligence. I thought I was smarter than people. And a lot of times people knew like I was smarter than them. You know what I'm saying? Like, but some reason with me being as smart as I think I was, nothing ever worked. And I was stuck in that cycle of not going back to prison, but county jails, probation violations, crappy jobs. My life sucked. Bad relationships. Like I was the smartest, stupid person, or the stupidest, smartest person you'll ever meet. Like I couldn't get right, seriously. And my rise came out of a place where like literally my mom, my mom called me, and I'll never forget this. It was my 28th birthday, and I did everything in the world that I liked to do at the time that I was 28. We don't got to get into what those things was, but I did all of them. Had a good night. And I just woke up really feeling empty, not even knowing why I wanted to do the things that I had just did. You know what I'm saying? That I thought would make me feel good. And my mom called me, and she told me like, son, I love you and I'm proud of you. And that changed my life. And it's not for like a reason that a lot of people would take it. Because the way that I took that, I knew my mom was lying to me. And I don't know if anybody else has ever felt this way out there. But like when your mom lied to you and you 28, you supposed to be a grown man, you feel like you're almost 30, and you ain't did nothing that nobody supposed to be proud of. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, let's keep it a buck. My little brother is in the joint right now, the same one that I went to when I was 18, shooting somebody. Who's the first person that ever put a gun in my little brother's hand? Like, I've literally destroyed myself, my family, everything that was around me. Like, I literally like was responsible partly for destroying everything around me. How my mama gonna talk about she proud of me? Like I'm a grown man. I'm irresponsible, but I'm not stupid. I know, like, nah, this ain't it. And when that mirror got put in front of my face at that time, I had some options, you know, and I liken it to when I was in the hole in Shelton. They got these really crappy mirrors that are up on the wall when you're in the hole. And a lot of them is scratched out. Like people just scratched them out. They're metal. So it's not even like you can see a good reflection like glass, but it's like a steel mirror, and it's right there. And I remember that was the first time I ever looked in the mirror, and I thought that I was ugly. That was when I was 18. I looked in the mirror that was in there in the hole, and I thought it was ugly. And when my mom told me she was proud of me, and I knew she was lying, it was like that same mirror came up, and I looked at myself, and the person that was looking back at me in the mirror, I didn't like that person. I didn't respect that person, and I realized I didn't even love that person, and that's why I was in the situation I was in. And so my rise came from learning how to like, respect, and love myself. And and those things, like they I don't know if that was the order that it happened in, but I had to put myself in a different situation that I was never in before my mom made that call.
Mm.
And like, so I ingratiated myself with people that used to believe in me when I didn't believe in myself. There was people that liked, loved, and respected me when I didn't do those things for myself. And I used to run away from those people when I was hurt. But when I realized that I didn't do those things for myself, put myself around them people on purpose. And it was scary. It was uncomfortable. Um, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have no direction. I just knew that everything that I had tried to that point did not work. And God really, was the key instrument in putting the right people in my life and helping me find my purpose. And since the beginning of time, the first philosophers in the world, right, that ever was made, like, man was like, why am I here? And God showed me why I was here. And once that question was answered, I found my purpose. All the rest of this, there's a little bit of a method to the madness, but it's really just me living in my purpose. I didn't know I was going to be dealing with politicians and, being in the spaces that I'm in now and doing professional development for school districts. Like, I never planned none of this. I just knew what my purpose was. My purpose was to give back. My purpose was to invest into community because community actually built me. And my purpose was to represent my generation. Up in up until just, a few months ago, I always had cornrows. I always looked a certain type of way. I was like on purpose banging for my generation, us 80s babies, us super predators, as some people called us. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to show up in spaces and be like, yeah, we're valuable. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got a voice, we're dope, we're ready to lead. Let's do this. Let's break generational curses. Let's do all that. Like, that became my purpose, and just whatever lane that's taking me down, that's what I end up doing. And I think that's how I found my way to this podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, just things that feel organic, things that feel natural, things that I understand like that need to be done for the culture. I'm here to try to be a creator, a developer, and a support. And I don't know if that answers the question about my rise necessarily. I tried to do it without like naming names because there's way too many people that actually invested in me when I didn't believe in myself. And I really, because that's something that I've received, that's something that I feel is my purpose to give. You know, as Black people, we have so much fake confidence. Like we can clean up. We'll look better than anybody. Like, I got on J's, I got on this. We have so much fake self-confidence. We got a car, like we got a little bit of money, and we're like, I'm something because of these things. But nobody ever taught us like you're something because of just who you inherently are. And I think that we don't love on ourselves enough. We don't appreciate ourselves enough. We're not actually taught and raised that type of a way. And I have actual confidence now, and it's different. And I just really want to affirm our young people, and even some of my elders. I think like they still need it. Like, nobody ever affirms you and lets you know, like, nah, you're you. That's valuable. You know what I'm saying? Especially us that used to be locked up before.
Yeah.
And my bad, I'm talking way too long.
No, man.
But like,
No, man. Spill it all, man. Spill it, pour it all out on the floor, man.
That's something that I learned like when I was 18 and I was in the 8 wing, Walla Walla, maximum security. I'm the youngest person there because I went to prison right after my 18th birthday. Like I was there in '03. Man, the hopelessness, the people that I was around that, you know, was never gonna get out. And they understood that I'm gonna die in here.
Mm.
And this is it for me. And they weren't even old yet. Like they were young. You know what I'm saying? People in their early 30s. People younger than what I am right now. They just in prison, like, yep, I'm gonna die here. It is what it is. This is my life. I'm good. Like talking to them when I was 18 was transformational. 'Cause they told me, like, you just a visitor.
Right.
This, this ain't even you. You got action of going and doing something one day. Like there's multiple people that's in this prison right now that would kill to have your sentence.
Absolutely.
So you better shut up talking about being sad and you don't want to be here today and all that. Like it gave me a perspective of like what life could be. And even then, even though they wasn't like mentoring me or like giving me something like great that I could use later in life, people even when I was in prison told me like you got potential to go do something. I didn't know how to receive it then, but I heard that over and over again in my life. At the same time, I was dealing with the you ain't never gonna be nothing. You're gonna be like your daddy. You're gonna die young. You're gonna go to prison. So like you're getting multiple things fed to you as a youngster. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But like I learned how to not be reactionary to the negative stuff and receive the positive things the more I matured. And that's I think that's a big part of the rise is like not being reactionary and receiving all the negative. Cause as much as people said I was gonna go to jail, I remember saying to myself, like, oh, F them, they ain't right. But all I did was just prove them right by going to prison. You know what I'm saying? Like, so how am I going to take their negativity and respond to it in a way that hurt myself? And it took me a long time to finally hear the people that loved on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of running away from them, like, man, run to them. You know what I'm saying? Like be around that support system. And when I figured that out, life became, I won't say easy, but it's like, man, it's the cheat code, man. Like why you gonna, spend so much time and energy, you know, investing in like the people that hate you and the people that talk bad about you and the people that build barriers for you, and then you build barriers for yourself.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like instead of being, with the people that actually be like, all right, hey, you know what? You smart. Did you know that? Hey,
Yeah.
did you know that you could do this? And it entertain them possibilities instead of the other thing. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop right there because I'm an ordained minister and I can talk way too long. Y'all know who my pastor
Oh
is.
Lord, have mercy. Well, I think that you know, you talked about two things that just stuck in my mind for me as a guy that's a little bit older than you are. I still struggle with reactionary. I'll be the first to admit that. Maybe that part of that has to do with my own ego. But I'll say as far as my rise, I think for me, I didn't have much of a choice. Um, how my life began and how it started out. Um, we grew up poor, man, broken home and stuff like that. I remember going to school. We was on food stamps, and every morning it would be $2 in food stamps laying out for me. So I'd have to go cash it and buy a pack of candy so I have enough to get on the bus and go to school. And the same on the transfer home. So uh, poverty was deeply rooted where we come from, man. And it's not like Washington in Chicago. Every block there's a different drug spot. You know, at 16, I was introduced to crack, to when it was freebasing then, by the bass player at the church. Took me after church. So I'm smoking freebase cocaine, and had a little scrap a couple months later in the park, about 8 of us. They gave us all felonies. So at 16, I got a drug habit and 3 felonies that I'm trying to figure out how to navigate through with just a single mom who has been hurt and scarred by my father, with some pain that she died with. So, the last time I smoked crack, I was 40, and I was in Washington, getting ready to go to prison for the last time, because I went to prison a couple times in Illinois too. I wasn't always raggedy. I had a wife, I had a family, I had good things in my life. I had a home, but the drugs and the trauma and not knowing how to heal from that, um, like like Darryl just stated, not having people that really believe in me. That's all my mom knew to tell me, was to speak from her pain. You're gonna always be like your daddy, and we all as black men struggle with that. So, as far as what happened with the paradigm shift, I think I started teaching GED class. And the reason I started to teach in the GED class is because I scored pretty high on the test. And I think that I saw most of the guys that were plugged or in the gangs like we were, they weren't going to school and getting their GED. So I decided to ask the school if they would let me help those individuals. The guys that the teachers would just let sit in the classroom. If you want to talk about Pierre, Ray, I can name countless guys that you know. And during that process of helping them guys, it actually clicked on me. Like you said, hey, you a smart dude. Why are you sleeping on yourself? I don't know if you knew me when I was out here doing crack, but Cynthia knew me. And it wasn't like I was broke, running around here starving the streets. So I think that paradigm shift of realizing that I had some value to offer, if I could just have the right opportunity and the right space. And for me, man, another biggest point, I got tired of being an embarrassment to my family. I got tired of starting over. I lost so many different things. I've lost houses full of furniture quite a few times. And it just, I didn't want to be like most people when their parents die when they're in prison, or their parents die without them ever being proud of you. My relationship with my daughter was fractured. I didn't even know how to love me. How I'm gonna love her. So all those things just encompassed it, man. And I got a job washing dishes on the first day out. That changed for me in Bremerton. And I became the proudest dishwasher they ever had. And here we are today. And I've kind of combined it. And you talked about purpose. It's all about giving back who you could help. When I started doing my landscaping, it was about creating opportunities for people when they got out. Because it's hard getting a job when you get out from prison. And I just wanted to bridge that gap. So, I'm here because I know I have something to offer. I'm here because I know we the kind of conversations that Cynthia and I have, and you as well, we tend to draw the wealth out of each other, and that's what we want to offer for the people. So that's what I got. How about you, Cynthia? Let's hear about your ride.
Well, I love what both of you guys said about, like basically that out of our pain and the things that we've been through, we finally decided that we didn't want to have that no more. We didn't want no parts of that anymore. Um, I have several catalysts that's involved in me changing my life and becoming a better person and rising up out of those ashes. And my main one is God, my relationship with God. I had to find out who God was for myself. I started out listening to other people, but I started really digging and searching for myself, and doing the work. Is healing from past trauma and experiences of my past that was supposed to keep me crippled or keep me down. the anger and the frustration of what I seen in the world and around me, and the things that I grew up with in childhood and those experiences and stuff. And I'm still really healing and changing and making the necessary changes as I see that I need adjusting, you know. So I would say my rise, first of all, comes from power greater than me. And one of the scriptures that always come to mind for me is, there's two. One is, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not yet seen. See, just because you don't see something in a person don't necessarily mean it's not in them. You know, to be able to rise up out of them ashes and do what it is that they call to be. Because a lot of people count you out, you know, instead of counting you in. And then when they see what you're really working with, it's they're puzzled by where'd that come from. And then another one is, I'm doing a new thing. Do you perceive it? We have to come to the conclusion that we have to be able to foresee ourselves in certain situations and circumstances before it even arrives, before it even comes to fruition. We have to be able to see ourselves in them spaces and see ourselves making changes and being able to help other people and make the necessary changes. I remember when I was in drug court, and they had sent me over to Cedronard to this treatment center program. And I remember they had tried to tell me I couldn't have that Bible. And there was a lady that came to work there, and she was saying, oh, no, you can't. That's her constitutional right to be able to have her Bible on her free time. So they gave it back to me. So I used to sleep with it in the room, but I really was supposed to leave it out on the shelf. I sleep with it in the room and be reading it at nighttime and praying and all this other stuff in the bed. And I started noticing, you know, like different things that I was striving to do. I would get up early in the morning and go walk. I sent a note, asked them, can I get up and walk the track and do different things? And I was just rebuilding myself. But one of the things that came to me, because I was really angry about my whole circumstance and situation, was I had an epiphany that said, none of this is going to benefit anybody but you, Cynthia. And when that hit me, I've been running ever since to get myself in line and get myself situated and straight. I believe that the reason why I'm in this space or even want to be in this space is because I like to see other people change and other people to have a life and other people to be empowered and realize that they can do this. And that only thing is holding them back really is them, their thoughts, their way of thinking, and all the pain and trauma and stuff that they holding on to that they need to let go, because we can't change the past, but we can change our future. And that's my answer.
I don't know if I should say amen or clap my hands, but uh, I will tell you, what I hear, the continual theme is the great, and it just brings this thought to my mind. The greatest motivating factor on the face of the earth is pain. When you had enough pain, you're gonna change. And why is it important for us to be here? Because a lot don't make it. A lot of people don't make it. We know a lot of people that are gone forever. We know a lot of people that are still struggling. People that we used to kick it with and be down doing the same things with. So I take this as an honor, man. And I don't take it lightly, the value that we bring. I don't think we came in this seeking popularity. We already know enough people. Um, but it's about getting some inspiration out to folks who don't usually get it. We kind of answered the second question in terms of how do you value yourself differently, which is cool. It's good to know that you value yourself. That's where empowerment starts. Like Cynthia said, it's all in how you think. So let's move on to the next question. And I want to start with you, Cynthia, and then we're gonna go to Darryl. How are you most misunderstood today?
There's people that still see me as my past.
Mm,
They don't see the growth or the development, and they're not even really even around me. And some of them wasn't even around me when I was out there, but they've heard rumors or they heard stories. Instead of them coming to me and asking me questions or seeing who I really am, they perceive me to be somebody else. And the thing is, I've always had a heart for people. You know, that was my struggle and my war that went on inside of me, was the fact that here I am, I have a heart for people, but in the same breath, I'm hurting people because I'm out here selling drugs, doing drugs with them and stuff. And that war that took on and took inside of me was, I mean, it was heavy. The darkness was real heavy for me, because here it is, like two different people living in one body. There's this person that wants the money and wants to be able to take care of their kids and want to be able to develop and grow. But then I have the addiction that comes along with that. And then on the other hand, here I am wanting to feed the community, take care of these kids out in the community, and do all these different things in my community. I'm doing the same thing. Like it didn't make sense.
Right.
And that war that kept going on inside of me, it hindered me from where I was supposed to be on my way or going. But I don't knock any of it, because everything that I went through taught me to be a better person today, and taught me to really look at things and say, that's not who I am. That's some stuff I did, but that's not who I am. But I think I'm misunderstood about my intentions for the things that I do. I'm not, like, money is not the issue, because if money was the issue, I probably wouldn't even be working in the field I'm working in. It's other things. It's about helping other people. And I believe people misunderstand me. Another misunderstanding is I'm always doing things for people. And at some point, I have to tell people no.
Yeah.
And when I do tell people no, they take it a different way.
Yeah.
But what it is that I have to learn how to say no, or I will pour myself out like a drink offering, and then there will be no one around to refill Cynthia's cup. So that's how I feel that I'm misunderstood.
Come on.
My intentions is good.
Come on, Mr. Green. It's probably only one or two people around that misunderstand you. So let's talk about them one or two folks.
Right. Um, you know, there's levels to answering this question, and I'm gonna feel my way. You know, this is my first episode with y'all. I'm gonna use a word on purpose that I'm not gonna use a lot moving forward, but I want to use it right now because I think that it addresses the question, and also the second question, you know, about how I valued myself. When I was 13, 14, if you asked me what my goal was, which we do at these programs all the time, you'd be like, what's your SMART goals? And you try to ask kids what their goals is. If you would ask me what my goal was when I was 13, 14, I wanted to be the realest nigga that ever lived. And with that being said, whatever I thought that was, I tried to be that. A lot of different things informed me as to what that was, and I tried to live my life that way. And when you spend decades of your life trying to be something like that that isn't even real in and of itself, um, and then you try to transition, but so much of your identity is based in this. So it's hard to let go of something and try to really move to do something different, you know, like, so you're like juggling both these things at the same time. And so y'all know, like, when I was going to Olympia and I got to speak in front of, like, you know, governors and legislators and all this, I'm sagging my pants and I got cornrows because I couldn't let go of, like, I was like, I'm a real nigga. I have to be this in this space. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think what people misunderstood about me as I'm going through this internal battle, you know, with myself, with my own identity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I know that we're in a world where you can identify as whatever you want to, and all these things is what they are. But like, my struggle as a Black man in America was like there's a difference between being a black man and being a real nigga. No one ever broke this down to me. It's just something that as I was trying to transition, I ended up getting stuck in and I didn't know how to move. And even when I came into the church, there's people that looked at me, and they've smiled in my face since then. Like, I didn't know about you when you first came in, but it's been like 10 years now, so I guess you cool. You're a
Right.
real Christian. It's like, what? like people always got me messed up. Like I'm like I have some type of anger problem, or like I'm just I have a disposition where I don't want to talk to people. I'm very introverted. It just so happens that God didn't put me in a position where I have to talk a whole lot, but I'm extremely introverted. I do not like people in my personal space. I don't want people in my bubble. So people have kind of thought I'm an asshole sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like there's that misconception of me that I like to talk just because I'm talking. No, I really don't. You know what I'm saying? I do it out of what I feel to be necessity. You know what I'm saying? And then like the way that I've presented myself, like even before I met my wife, I was dating women and they was like, how come you don't look like what you are? And I'm like, huh? What am I supposed to look like? And people felt like, oh, you gotta clean up, you know what I'm saying? You gotta dress like this, you know what I'm
Coach
saying? You
Rick.
gotta cut your hair. And honestly, that's the reason why I never did any of those things the whole time, is because people's misconception of me, the more that they kept judging my appearance, I wanted to look like that even more, the more successful that I was getting, just so that they could know, like, there's gonna be multiple other black men that come after me that might present themselves in whatever fashion that they do. You know what I'm saying? And you need to respect them the same way that I'm being respected in the position I'm getting now, looking how I'm looking. Like you don't get to dictate to me, you know what I'm saying, what I'm
Yeah.
gonna look like. You're gonna discriminate against me anyway. You ain't
The
gonna give
whole
me the
time.
job no way, even if I cut my hair. So you want me to just, do all this stuff for no reason and then still get discriminated against? Like, and so because I've always had that little bit of rebelliousness to me, certain people have looked at me like I have an element of danger to me still.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
I mean, that could be right or wrong. I don't know. But I feel that people, that's a misunderstanding. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you actually talk to me or have a conversation, if you conduct yourself like an adult human being or like a professional, like I don't have no issue talking to anybody or meeting them at whatever level that they're at. But
Yeah.
because of my presentation, I've been intentional about, I still look like the youth that I serve. There's a misunderstanding that comes with that, and it goes both ways, because sometimes even the young people might think that I'm a little bit like I'm 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and like, no, I'm not. I am not in the streets at all, even a little bit. You shouldn't be asking me
Yeah.
to, like, about other things. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it goes both ways, and I've kind of like lived in that world on purpose of like, I know I'm gonna get it from both directions. You know what I'm saying? People in the street going to be like, is he still kind of, out here? And then people in them offices, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna be like, is he still kind of out there? And I live in that world on purpose, so I understand the misunderstanding, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything's on purpose, and I can deal with it. You know what I'm saying? But it's rough sometimes if you get pressed at the gas station. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or professionally, some people, just give you a side eye and might not want to trust you with a company credit card or something. Like, the foolishness that comes with it, you know, like, you feel me?
Definitely different levels of foolishness. Uh, I will say, you know, before I get into that, I think one of the most oxymoronic, I know what you mean when you say real nigga. I know what you mean by the culture. I think most of the culture know what you mean when we say that. But I think it's one of the most oxymoronic phrases, you know what I'm saying, that you could ever say if you put the two definitions together. And a lot of that is because we got people like who don't know who they are, no identity, bad copies of good originals, or good copies of bad originals, either way you want to look at it. Um, I'm just like you, man. At 13, all I wanted to be was alive too. That's all I wanted to be. One of the most misunderstood uh, things about me is, I don't have to tell you, both of you, but I'm ag- aggressively assertive. Is how I like to describe myself. Aggressively assertive. I don't think anything's wrong with that, and I'm passionate about what I believe in. I think that's what gives me the edge. I speak forcefully about what I know I'm right about, or truthful about, or passionate about. That doesn't mean the next individual is wrong. And just like you two, you know, I I had some I would I had some physical altercations in the streets before I figured this out, and a lot of that stuff tends to follow you. You'll go in these spaces, and a narrative will be created about you by somebody who don't really know you. It's just about something that they heard, and I'm in these spaces, and these people are already feeling some type of way about me, until they hear me speak, or until all the pieces are put together. So, a lot of that. A lot of that is bothersome sometimes, but I know part of that is because people still want you to be in that space. Everybody that's clapping for you ain't happy, and it particularly is tough in my business, in the business lanes that I operate in, because like you said, sometimes you want to be kind of tied to the culture, if you will, and remain professional at the same time. I'm not your homie, I'm your employer. You know what I'm saying? And I can be your employer who acts like your homie until you start acting like I'm not your employer. And then I realize that all of that is on me, because if I have to tell you that I'm your boss, or remind you that I'm your boss, then I'm not doing a very good job at that. So I'm kind of in the middle of in my professional development on how to navigate those changes in my life. And a lot of times I get the I get the energy from people like, who does he think he is? You feel me? And you know, uh, I speak from a place of power. Real power. I think, if I died today, you can't take the fact away from me that I own a franchise in this community. Probably one of the only blacks to ever do that. You can't take that from me. You can't take the fact from me that I also probably smoke more crack than anybody in this city. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't got to lie at my funeral. You know what I'm saying? All you can say is he turned it around. So I think we all still struggle for some of the same things. People still look at us in those positions. One of the most toughest parts for me is my family and my old friends. They don't know the new me, and my new friends can't appreciate the old me. So I kind of find myself in the middle, and I keep my circle small, because right now, it's almost like I have to be careful where I go now. I can't be in any place. I can't talk to any people. And that's kind of difficult for me, because I'm tied to the turf, So, I don't want nobody to get it misconstrued, man. We're not here to harm nobody. We're not here to be angry. A lot of people think I'm just the most violent person there is, and they've never seen me participate in none of that. I'll be really shocked at some of the energy I get. You ain't never even seen me raise my voice at nobody. Where is this coming from? But either way, it's all good, man. We just got to keep moving and keep doing what we're doing.
They heard it through the grapevine. You have a lot of issues with people listening to other people about somebody.
Yeah.
I have an incident where I'm where I'm working at. Well, it was about a year or so ago, and somebody came to be a client there, and they kept calling me my nickname, my street name, and I kept saying my name is Cynthia. And if you want to have a conversation with me, you're gonna have to call me that. I've been knowing you for years and all this other stuff. Now this person has been off the scene for at least 15 years of their life. They've been off the scene. And so, and you ain't seen me in about 15 years. And all of a sudden you know me from 15 years later. If I haven't changed in 15 years, there's a problem. But apparently you haven't changed your mind about me in
Yeah.
them 15 years that you was gone. But it just was really disrespectful towards me in a sense, but kept not even understanding that they were being disrespectful.
Yeah.
And
Not
I let them know, like, if you can't call me Cynthia, Miss Cynthia, Cynthia, Brady, whatever you want to call me, except for Cynthia, Houston, we got a problem.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I
I choose
appreciate
who you call me. My name is Cynthia, and I want to be called Cynthia.
I appreciate, the point that y'all brought up just now a lot. And I really be remiss if I didn't say that, like, that was a big part of my rise, a big part of my transition, and a big part of why I'm misunderstood is because people see that I kind of keep some of the same company that I always had. And and what people got to understand uh, about what's been unique about my transition, when a lot of people try to get out of a certain type of a life, um, they homies turn on them. They homies don't support them. My homies actually wasn't like that. And and they supported me throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Even when I was doing stuff that seemed controversial, like I remember my face was in the newspaper talking about hooping with the cops, and they got me holding a microphone, and I'm like, yeah, community, come out and play basketball with law enforcement. Like I did stuff that a lot of other people would have got called snitches for doing,
Yeah.
and they would have lost street credibility. But like my homies supported me through the whole thing. Like when I gave my first sermon, at Mount Zion, I didn't even invite them because I felt, weird about like doing certain things. And I'm up there at the pulpit and I look out and I see my day ones sitting in the back, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And they
I
just
did it.
like, they like, all right, yep,
They
you
did it.
doing that.
They
And
did it.
and like if it wasn't for that, I don't even know if I would have been able to deal with some of the pressure that comes with it the same type of a way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like I had that and people have misunderstood me and judged me for some of that because when you come, I don't want to call it this game, but when you start getting on the other side, people always tell you you got to cut off everybody you knew from your old life. And really that's another thing I've always been resistant to. And and I think that, man, I don't know, something that both of y'all just said just kind of brought that back and put it in front of me. And I was like, I needed to make sure that I said that. Like the community has supported me, and I mean like all levels. The other community that ain't a part of this other community, they still supported me too. And I can never I can never say how much that's meant to me. You know what I'm saying? That even if they didn't walk on the journey with me, they was like, we got you, bruh, and you good. And knowing that allowed me to be standing by police and by these other people who traditionally I'd be like, nah, I can't stand next to you, but like my people having my back like that for real, you know, every now and then it go like, Miss Cynthia Brady said, you gotta remind them like, nah, I ain't D from this no more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm Durell Green, but
Absolutely, man. Well, listen, man. It's been a very engaging conversation with the both of you, man. We wanted to get it warmed up, chop this game up, like we say, like we really do. I learned a lot from you both today, and we just want to say to everybody out there, please like and share and subscribe. Join us every Sunday night at 7:30 on the Post Prison Podcast at YouTube. Darrell, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the substance that you bring. Cynthia, I always got mad love for you. And it just organically flowed, man. And I'm pleased. And I hope the rest of y'all out there watching continue to support us and let us know what we can do different. Until next time, peace.
Every morning I wake up, all I know is get it. The OGs always told me what I start, I gotta finish. So I push it to the limit, so I can be the greatest. So I can look my family in their eyes and say we made it. Don't let life hand you nothing, you just gotta go take it. Always keep it 100, don't ever let me catch you faking. Keep a close eye on your circle.